Welcome to my NHL Breakdown for Thursday, March 4th here on odds.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Sitting 48 wins, 56 losses on the year, average line of plus 126, which has me down 3.07 units. I went 2 wins and 1 loss yesterday, plus 1.27 units. Let's just go over exactly what went down. I cashed on the Hurricanes -1. It was another fade of the Nashville Predators. I cashed on the Predators team total under 2.5 at -115, and I lost on the Flyers -1 at plus 131. I have 6 bets in action this evening. I pushed on the Capitals first period, and I pushed on the Capitals -1 in their game against the Bruins. So I've got 4 spots left. That's Kings first period and Kings -1, and Wild first period and Wild -1. I expect, if I hit at 47%, to be healthy in the black because of my high average line. And this card is a little different. My average line isn't that high, but I'm very confident in the 4 bets that I will have. 3 I've already made. 1 is not available yet on the market. So let's get to work and let's get that cash. We're going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Red Wings, 7-15-3, 3-9-1 on the road at Carolina Hurricanes, 15-6-1, 6-1-1 at home. It's Bernier versus James Reimer. Detroit opened at plus 235 at Bet365. They're now at plus 240. If you shop around, you can get them as high as plus 264. So plus 240 really is the minimum at this point. The total, and that's where I will be attacking, is at 6. The under 6 is at -125, and that's basically the worst line out there. It's between -118 and -125, and literally, I was shocked. I was expecting a 5.5 at -110. I saw the 6 at -125, and I pounced right away. Bernier, 6-4-0, 2.84 goals against average, .913 save percentage. He's playing well. James Reimer, I expect to be in that for Carolina. At this point, Mrazek is hurt. Reimer, 10-3-0, 2.90 goals against average, .902 save percentage. He's been good. Wings power play is dreadful, 9.9% hit rate or score rate. Their penalty killing is also weak at 70.4%. The Hurricanes power play is very strong, 29.6% power play, and their penalty killing is good at 80.3%. The Detroit Red Wings average 2.08 goals a game. And now they're playing without their 2 best offensive players. Captain Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi are both out with upper body injuries. The Wings are hopeful that they will return next week. Without them, they've scored 3 goals in their last 2 games. Now, prior to that, they did have a game where they put up 5 goals, which was a surprise. It was impressive. But with the last 2, they've scored 3 goals. And that 5-goal outburst was against the Chicago Blackhawks, and it was the first game without Larkin in the lineup, and we see teams step up in that first game without their star. We just saw that with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby. They've also been playing without defenseman Troy Stecher, who's dealing with a lower body injury, and Patrick Nemeth, who's been out due to COVID safety and protocols. Nemeth is off the COVID list. He's expected to be back in the lineup for this. I was hoping that they would give Langley native first-round pick, 2016 first-round pick, defenseman Dennis Cholowski, another shot with the big club. I had really high hopes for him when he broke into the NHL. He's offensively gifted, but he has defensive lapses that you can't have with Jeff Blashill. And with Blashill as the coach, it's another reason why I attack unders with the Detroit Red Wings often, and why I like Detroit Red Wings first periods when they're healthy and ready to go. I believe in Blashill to get this team ready, and he's got a conservative approach. And why wouldn't you if you have a team like the Red Wings that are kind of devoid of elite skill and elite playmakers, but have size? Defenseman Dennis Cholowski, he's offensively gifted. He has 8 points in 7 games with the Grand Rapids Griffins of the AHL, but he hasn't come up. In the meantime, I don't know how they score. Their first line is Robbie Fabry between Evgeny Svechnikov and Bobby Ryan. They're ranked as the second worst first line in the NHL, and I'd be hard-pressed to find the line that's actually worse than that. Fabry, 2014 first-round pick, 21st overall by the Blues, is playing pretty well. 9 points in 16 games. He's a +1 on a team that's a -30 overall. They've called up 2015 first-round draft pick, 21st overall pick, Evgeny Svechnikov. He's going to be going up against his brother in this game. His brother, the second overall pick in the 2018 draft, Andrei Svechnikov. Evgeny is the bigger of the two. He's 6'3", 208 pounds. Andre is the highly skilled, and Andre's pretty big, and he plays big. But Evgeny doesn't have the skills of his younger brother. I don't think he has the skills to be a top 6 forward. Now, he does have 3 points in 3 games since being called up, but as an example, he was on that 2016 Russia World Juniors team, 0 points in 7 games. He was a 4th liner, so he wasn't amongst the premier players of his age group out of his country. So I'm not really sure why that would change here. He came up in the Q, the Quebec Major Junior League, and he was a good scorer, but not a great scorer. 6'5", 235-pound first-round pick, 20th overall in the 2013 draft, Anthony Mantha, who is a great young player, big boy, has to play with Matthias Brome and Michael Rasmussen on the second line. Rasmussen is a Surrey, BC native who was picked 9th overall in 2017. He's 6'6", 230 pounds. So you're getting size, and that is very important. That's going to bode well for them in the future, but they're not offensively gifted players. Rasmussen, for instance, he started playing this year. He started the year in Austria. And when our elite scorers from the NHL go over to Austria, they score 3 or 4 points a game. And he wasn't even scoring a point a game. Then you have Matthias Brome. So he went undrafted. He's been playing in the Swedish Elite League now, just the Swedish Hockey League. He has 1 goal, 0 assists in 22 games this year. That is not a top 6 forward group that is going to light the lamp. The Detroit Red Wings are going to offer us a great opportunity for unders. Their forwards don't score. Their goaltending can be trusted, whether it's Bernier or Greiss. Hurricanes are a very good hockey team. If they upgraded their goaltending, I would have a future ticket in my pocket for them to win it all. In fact, I had one last year. I just can't keep going back to the well when their goaltending subpar. They bounced back from losing 3 straight to the Tampa Bay Lightning by beating Florida twice on the road, then winning in Nashville 4-2 on Tuesday night. That was a game that we doubled up on. We had the Hurricanes -1 for a nice score, and then we had the Nashville Predators under 2.5. The Predators didn't score until the third period. They scored a couple quick goals, and I was a little concerned, but we cashed both. Now, they've moved the Svechnikov, the second overall pick, the 2018 draft. They've moved him to the third line. So what that's done is it's given them depth. It's also sparked Jordan Stahl. Stahl has 17 points so far this year, the exact same number that Svechnikov, and that third line is ranked 3rd in the NHL. And I was surprised it was ranked 3rd, not number 1. I don't know a better third line than them. Now, it takes away from their top line. Sebastian Aho is now between Nino Niederreiter and Jesper Fast. It's not what Aho needs to be a 90, 100-point scorer. And I'm a big Vincent Trocheck fan. I really liked him in Florida. I thought that they're a much weaker team without him centering the second line. They have Wenberg now as a second-line centerman. I would take Trocheck any day over Wenberg. He centers the second line between Brock McGinn and Martin Necas. It's not that strong of a second line. Thank God Trocheck's on it. But they have depth. They have a very strong mobile defense led by Dougie Hamilton and Jacob Slavin. I could lose this under if the Hurricanes score 4 or 5 goals, but I don't expect them to do that. The Hurricanes allowed 2.73 goals a game. I trust their defense combined with the Red Wings' lackluster offense to cash this under 6. And I've even written here, because I had planned to make this move before the lines come out, under 5.5. I can't believe we're getting a 6. Bet it immediately. I expect this to be a 5.5 come game time. I really, really do. That is my first spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern, Red Wings, Carolina Hurricanes under 6 at -125. That's available right now at Bet365. And again, that's the worst line on the board. You can get better if you shop around. We move on, 7 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Flyers at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Flyers are 11-5-3, 5-3-1 on the road. Pittsburgh Penguins 12-8-1, 8-1-0 at home. And they have fans in the arena. And the guys are loving it. And they're saying that 2,000 fans feels like 20,000 fans. And they're loving it. Carter Hart, I expect to be between the pipes for the Flyers, 6'4" and 3.48 goals against average, .893 save percentage, 1 shutout. He's not been good this year. Tristan Jarry, 8-6 and 1, 3.06 goals against average, 900 save percentage, 0 shutouts, is expected to be in between the pipes for the Penguins, and he looked very good in this matchup 2 nights ago. Flyers power play 17.7%. I expect that to improve. Penalty killing just 72.7%. They are in a division with a lot of high octane offensive teams, and the Penguins penalty killing is at 74.2% as well. The Penguins power play 15.9%, and that's not as good as what you'd expect with a team that has Crosby, Malkin, and Letang on them. I'm going right back to the well. Flyers -1, and I'm going to make the same bet again 2 nights from now. I got it money line -130 and the puck line at +185. This has already moved 5 cents towards the Penguins. If I had waited, I would have got a better line. And in fact, I kind of figured that. And I don't know why I pulled the trigger. I thought I was going to get better than -130. I thought I could get a -120 or -125 and -130. I was a little surprised. So it's even down to -120 at a couple books. So money coming in on the Penguins, just a recency bias there. The total is sitting at 6. I was praying for 6.5. The 6 is juiced. Now, how I'm going to – praying because I wanted an under, but I've got a better way to handle this. I'm going to take the Penguins team total under 2.5. I'm going to see what it is if I work out the 3. But I expect this 2.5 to pay me out nice. Okay, so I'm making this bet. The Flyers -1 at +124, and soon I'd like to make the Pens team total under with the expectation that Sidney Crosby will not be in the lineup due to COVID safety and protocols. He missed practice again today. He's being kept away from the team. But we don't know if he has COVID or it's just the contact tracing going on. As I said, I was on the Flyers when these two teams met in the 5-2 Penguins win on Tuesday. In retrospect, I should have stayed off. Teams so often step up in that first game without their star player, and that's what happened there. The Flyers had won 3 straight. They'd outscored their opponents 10-3. The Flyers outshot the Pens 42-27, but made some major defensive miscues in the loss. 2018 first-round pick, 14th overall, Joel Farabee scored both of the Flyers' goals. He has 19 points in 19 games. He looks very good on the line with James Van Riemsdyk and Sean Couturier. If you had told me that this first line for the Flyers would be playing so well, I would think, well, they're probably the number 1 team in the league at that point. But that's not the case, and it's because the second line that should be excellent isn't. Claude Giroux, Kevin Hayes, and Nolan Patrick are not playing very well. Claude Giroux has 1 goal in 17 games. The 2017 second overall pick, Nolan Patrick, has 2 goals in 19 games. He's not playing center anymore. His Corsi numbers are poor. He missed all of last year with migraines. He's yet to blossom into the player that we expected of him. You have Jakub Voracek on the third line. They're playing Konechny on the fourth line. I think just because now he's coming back. He was out of the lineup for a couple games. I think they just don't know where to play him right now. This should be by far the deepest forward group in the NHL. They're not quite playing like that at this point. The Penguins need Sidney Crosby back as soon as possible. Malkin is 34. He looks like he's 40. He has 4 goals, 13 points in 21 games, and there's a -7. They also lost Jason Zucker to a long-term lower body injury. Defensive Brian Dumoulin also dealing with a lower body injury. This team had no depth to start the season, and now you take Crosby off of this team. They wouldn't let Jim Rutherford make the moves that he felt were needed to address this situation, so he just left the team. I will be fading the Penguins until Sid the Kid returns. The Penguins have a history of stepping up when they have injuries, especially the last few years. So this is a possible spot, not this game here, but just fading them without Crosby is a possible spot where I could get hurt. But I plan on doing it. I see them as having a weak forward group, weak defense, weak goaltending. It's Sidney Crosby's the glue that keeps them all together. I'm on the Flyers -1. And I will be on the Pens team total under 2.5. Again, that -1's at +124. And you could get slightly better right now because the money line that I got it at -130 is now -125 at my book, but that puck line's still at +185. Here we go. Next up, 8 p.m. Eastern, the best bet on the board. Florida Panthers at Nashville Predators. Florida Panthers -1 is at +119. Money line -135. Puck line +180. Panthers are 13-4-4, 6-1-1 on the road. I mean, nice on the road. A team that's used to playing in front of no fans. So when they go on the road now with no fans in the buildings, they're used to it. Nashville Predators 10-12-0, 7-5-0 at home. The reason why I'm not taking the Predators team total under or even an under in general is because Sergei Bobrovsky's in between the pipes for the Panthers, and I just don't trust him. 6-2-2, 3.02 goals against average, 8.99 save percentage. Pekka Rinne, who I expect to be in goal for the Predators. UC Saros is hurt right now. Pekka Rinne 5-7-0, 2.46 goals against average, 9.13 save percentage, 1 shutout. Panthers power play has been very good. Huberdeau is excellent. Barkov is Huberdeau and Barkov out there with Ekblad or Yandel on the point. Their power play is going to be good. It's been good for a few years. 25%. Their penalty killing is better than I expected it to be. 77.1%. And I know that's not a good number, but I'm so used to them having such a trash penalty kill. Predators power play higher than I expected it to be, 18.7%. Their penalty killing poor, 71.2%. Now, this is a fade of the Predators. But let's start with the road team, the Florida Panthers. They received a much-needed wake-up call by the Carolina Hurricanes last week. Panthers are beaten twice in 3 days at home by the Canes. They're coming off those 2 losses. Great spot for that. They lost first-line winner Anthony Duclair to a lower body injury, replaced him with Frank Vetrano. Barkov has been strong as always on that first line, and he's got Carter Verhaeghe riding shotgun beside him. And Verhaeghe's been very good, and he only has, I think he has 15 points in 19 games or 15 points in 21 games. But what makes him very good is you're not paying him very much. And they're paying Huberdeau and Barkov a lot of money. Huberdeau on his way to another strong season. He's playing on that second line with Wenberg at center, a player who I don't believe is a top 6 forward. But they have Patrick Hornqvist on that right wing, and he's been excellent. He's given them some truculence, some leadership. He's been better than I expected him to be. This team has very little depth. I don't trust their defensive core, and I would prefer Drieger between the pipes than Bobrovsky. But I'll tell you what this team can do. Beat the Nashville Predators. The Predators are less than the sum of their parts, and now they're dealing with injuries and COVID issues. First and most importantly, they have lost defenseman Ryan Ellis to an upper body injury. This team has very little defensive depth after Roman Josi. And I said on a video here last week, I said, what happens if Josi or Ellis get hurt? And now that's happened. Ellis plays 24 minutes, 39 seconds a game, and they're going to have a very difficult time replacing that. Then they lose first-line center Ryan Johansson to the COVID list. Now, he's been an utter disappointment. 0 goals, 5 assists in 14 games, but he still is a soft-handed big body at 6'3", 218 pounds, and they're going to miss him. You'd think this was a major opportunity for Matt Duchene to take the job and run with it, but he can't hide the fact that he's a pussy-ass bitch and he's afraid to go to the dirty areas and can't be trusted. What an opportunity for Matt Duchene to become the first-line center on the Nashville Predators, and he can't do it. They have Michael Granlund moving up to center on that first line. 2016 first-round pick, 15th overall by the Wild, Luke Kunin, also out. He's dealing with a lower body injury, and he will be unavailable for 2 to 4 weeks. I tell you what, fade the Nashville Predators and get paid in full. Fade them against almost anybody right now. The Florida Panthers will work right here. Florida Panthers -1. That is my action for Thursday, March 4th. We have the under 6 in Red Wings Hurricanes. We have the Flyers -1, and I will be on the Pens team total under once it's available, and I expect to get a real nice number there because the total's at 6 and it's juiced to the over. I expect to get a nice plus spot there. And then I'm on the Florida Panthers -1 at +119. That is the best bet on the board. Panthers -1. All right, I hope that I can have a big night here. Went for the big score with the Capitals, and that cost me a casher. But it was a push, and I'll take it. I still have the Wild and the Kings here to go, so let's have a strong night, and then let's keep it going on Thursday. Thank you guys so much for supporting this show. I want to put a lot of time in NHL, and I can only do that if you guys support it. So thank you for your support. Go. Let's get that cash. Let's get paid in full.